Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, and today I'm back with just a regular movie review. This time is on Wonder Woman 1984. I saw this movie just a couple minutes ago actually. We subscribed to HBO Max just for a month probably because it's way too expensive. But me and my dad wanted to see the movie, and you can also get a ton of other movies for a month once again. $15 a month, that's way too much. But anyways, we saw it tonight, and overall, I thought the movie was pretty good. It was once again directed by Patty Jenkins, who did the first one. This one is not nearly as good as the first Wonder Woman. I was a big fan of that one. I really like the World War II setting of that one. This one is in the 80s. It's not as... I think definitely on a day, if someone gave me the choice between Wonder Woman or this one, Wonder Woman 1984, I'm definitely going to choose the first one just for the mood alone. But my main problem with the first Wonder Woman was I didn't love the ending, how the main villain was a god, like a literal god. I wasn't a huge fan of that. Because I feel like the whole movie was mostly realistic. It was put in a very realistic setting, and although Wonder Woman was, like fighting off bullets with her wristlets, whatever they're called, even though we had that, I just didn't feel like the whole, once again, the god thing, like the main bad guy being a god. I didn't love that about the movie, and that was my main flaw with it. With this one, it is similar because I didn't love the main cause of the movie at first. Basically, it's a magical, like, gem. I forget the official name of it, but it basically grants people wishes, and that of course leads to people becoming power hungry for it, especially Pedro Pascal's character, who I guess is the main villain in this movie alongside Kristen Wiig. I'll talk about her later. But I didn't love how the whole wishing thing, I got used to it. I didn't love it at first because I just wish that they gave it a bit more of a backstory, because it just kind of pops up. They take it out of a box at the Smithsonian because Wonder Woman stopped these robbers from robbing a jewel store, or just a regular jewelry store, I don't know. And I'm honestly not sure why all those valuable gems and whatnot were even in there. They might have said it, but I missed it if they did. But then the gems go to the Smithsonian. Kristen Wiig and Wonder Woman, they open it up, and they unintentionally just say out loud a wish. Wonder Woman, I think, reads some Latin on it, and it says something about it grants wishes or something like that. And they just say it out loud, like a guy walks by, he says, I wish I wanted a coffee or something, or I wish I got a coffee, and then a guy comes by with a coffee for him. And Kristen Wiig says something too, I wish I was as powerful and as great and sexy as Diane, Wonder Woman, and then Wonder Woman, which is for Chris Pine back, and it pretty much goes down the rabbit hole from there. But I just wish they gave a bit more of backstory to the gem itself, because I feel like it just shows up, and then they, once again, kind of unintentionally, in kind of a jokey way, they go, oh, I wish I had this, and then it comes true, and then that leads to the plot of the movie. Also, it feels a bit convoluted. I think that's the right word, because Wonder Woman, she stops the robbers from trying to get those jewels. She stops them, she brings it to the Smithsonian. Of course, Kristen Wiig is there. She ends up wishing for something. She becomes bad. She meets up with Pedro Pascal's character. She gives it to him, or he steals it rather. Or she says that she let him borrow it later on. I don't know. It just kind of feels like one event after another event after another event, and it doesn't really go together. It just seems a little too perfect how everything just works out that way. I wish it was a bit more natural. It doesn't happen to be Kristen Wiig who gets it, and then she is kind of in a flirtatious mood with Pedro Pascal's character, and then she lets him borrow it. It just all leads to that. Yeah, I wish it wasn't just like that. I feel like they could have done it another way that didn't involve that whole, it just going perfectly. So that was one of my big things with the movie. Another big flaw that I had was Kristen Wiig. She plays Kristen Wiig in this movie, which is not necessarily good. I don't know. I feel like I get kind of bored of her. I like her. She's fine in the movie. And she's fine as a person, I don't have anything against her, but I feel like she just goes for the same role every single movie, or rather, someone writes this, I think it was Patty Jenkins and someone else that wrote the screenplay, they write the part for her, and they write it as if the character is Kristen Wiig herself. It's like they don't give her anything different, and again, I can kind of live with that, that's fine, and then she becomes a villain. She becomes Cheetah. That's the name of the villain in the comics. So when she turns into that, it's like, oh, I don't really like seeing Kristen Wiig as a main villain now, when throughout the rest of the movie she was just, once again, Kristen Wiig. Just kind of like the goofy, uptight person. And she says things like, oh, you want to go for lunch later? Oh, I mean, that's fine, you don't need to. Oh, you're very attractive. Oh, I didn't mean that in a weird way. She talks like that the entire movie, as Kristen Wiig does in every other movie. But I really don't like how they made her the villain, because it seems that much more silly. For example, the way that they should have done it was, for example, Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems. He does not, I don't even see Adam Sandler in that movie, because he is just a totally different character from what we've seen Adam Sandler portray in the past. He was a totally different person with a totally different character, so it worked out in that movie. In this movie, if they gave Kristen Wiig a role that she really has never had before, I would have been like, okay, that may have opened my eyes to Kristen Wiig as a great actress instead of more of a comedic actress. I bet she could be great if she, was given a more serious, dramatic role. But in this movie, she was just given, again, just kind of the stereotypical role that she always gets. And then when they bring her on as the villain, it just seems out of place. So she didn't work for me that much in the movie. So that is mainly where my big troubles with the movie go away. Oh, but the CGI in this movie is not great. It's good at times. Specifically, the green screen is not that good. When Wonder Woman is flying through the air, which I'm not a fan of, I'm not a fan of her going like this and then flying. I thought that was kind of silly. I am a fan of her whipping her lasso around lightning and then swinging off of it. That was so badass. That was in the trailer, and I was really excited to see that. But her flying like this, like Superman, and then like pushing like that and then flying through the air, I don't know, I didn't love that too much. The green screen throughout that whole time didn't look great. And there's also this one moment of her running during the scene when they're in Egypt and the trucks on the road, and then she like flips off a truck. It was also in the trailer. But there's this one shot of her running like this, and she's like kind of in slow-mo, but it looks like her hair is like at regular speed and they have a fan blowing through it. But her face is so bright and everything behind her is so bright as well that it just didn't look good. I'll just put it at that. It didn't look that good, the green screen. Other times it's fine, but in instances like that, it just wasn't great. That's kind of my motto with this movie. It was fine, it was good, it wasn't great though. I do like Pedro Pascal's character. I like how he's seen on TV as a great businessman who could change your life, but in reality, he's not that at all. And then he kind of reminds me of like an Indiana Jones villain. He gets the, almost like the Ark of the Covenant or the Holy Grail or something like that, aka the wish-granting gem thing. And he uses that, he basically becomes that, and he becomes power-hungry, and that almost leads to his downfall in the end. The first act is fine. Honestly, it's like kind of middle of the road. The second act, it gets better, and then the third act really pulls it together. I love how the wishes that Pedro Pascal is granting to people is literally tearing the world apart, like building walls in between places and making people really angry, like, oh, I wish you dropped dead, and then that person drops dead. And I like how Pedro Pascal, his name is Max something. I forget his last name. It's like Max Stone or something like that, like one syllable, I forget. But his character, I like how he projects on the TVs throughout the world. He gets to the White House, like he progressively builds up through his wishes, but he's also getting more sick, and that happens with Diane as well. She wishes for Steve back, Chris Pine, that happens, and then, but her powers are diminished. And like Kristen Wiig, she wishes to be like Wonder Woman, but her personality is just not there anymore. Like she's not nice at all. I like how when you get something, something gets taken away from you as well. I thought that was pretty smart, and I think that was definitely something that was big in the comics. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this movie. I feel like I harped on the bad things for way too long, because I did enjoy this movie. It was very enjoyable. I liked the ending. And although it gets better throughout the movie, the first act, it didn't totally work for me. The second act was better though, and then the third act brought it home, as I said. So at this point, I feel like I'm just kind of repeating myself, but all you need to know is that I thought this movie was pretty good, and for that reason, I'm going to give Wonder Woman 1984 a 7 out of 10. Not great, not terrible, not bad at all, but it was pretty okay, and I thought it was a worthy sequel. I think it's worse that the first one was so good, so this one may seem worse than it really is. I'm also not totally content with that grade. I originally, for the first part of the movie, I originally started with a 5.5. That was my grade because it was just like kind of in the middle of the road. Again, as I keep on saying throughout this video, it was just fine throughout that part of the movie. Then the second act, it got better, so I brought it up to a 6. And then the third act, brought it home, I brought it up to a 6.5. And then I was in between a 6.5 and a 7. So I didn't really want to give it a 6.75 because I don't like doing that. So I thought I would be nice and round it up to a 7 for this movie. So thank you all so much for watching this video. Leave your comments down below of what you thought of Wonder Woman 1984. I enjoyed it, I thought it was fun. And yeah, thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.